Is there a window of opportunity for us to revitalize the operations of the Kenya Ports Authority and perhaps make it live up to its full potential? Now that question forms the basis of our conversation today on yet another insightful edition of your go-to show on matters public policy, that is Business Glide, hosted by yours truly, Richard Mwenje. Indeed, always a pleasure to have you on board. Now, to help me delve into this subject is none other than renowned public scholar in East Africa and Kenya's most sought-after political analyst, today donning a Chinese collar Bermuda blue shirt, Herman Manyora. Great to see you, sir.
Yes.
You need to get another pair of suit, though. This one is too common now.
This suit?
Yeah.
But poor people only have a suit or two. Poor people and white people. All Wazungus I know, they have just a suit, one.
You are very much blessed. Why do you call yourself poor?
No, either poor meaning you cannot get more than one suit, but then you take solace in the fact that where these things come from, where they originated from, in Europe and the rest, people just have one blue suit.
Like Manu Chandari?
They are called business suits, a blue suit cushion, not more than one. What do you need one more than a suit for?
You need to look like a lawyer.
No, I'm not a lawyer. Those are small jobs. You want me to do small jobs?
Dunstan Umari is
chasing after a client's money. No.
Very well. All right. Straight into today's conversation on matters revitalizing the operations at Kenya Ports Authority and see if we can get some better fortunes out of it. Let's start from the general perspective. You've been around for quite a while, for many decades. And at the mention of the Kenya Ports Authority, as a taxpayer and a senior citizen, what is the first impression that you get of the Kenya Ports Authority just at the mention of it?
You know, things have since changed, but most of the time, things like NSSF, KPA, was synonymous with corruption. Yeah. With things coming in the country without
quality assurance.
Duty being paid without quality, and all those kind of things. But the world has changed. So much has happened. NSSF has changed. It's not the NSSF we knew. It can still do better, but it's not what it was. I'm not so sure about KPA because, but I know there have been major improvements in terms of handling, how fast and things of that nature. In terms of going digital, they have been there at it for a number of years now.
Digitizing its operations.
Digitizing the operations.
Let's get to the nitty-gritties of it on matters Kenya Ports Authority, and let's start from the general perspective of tax revenue. This far, we are seeing the government decrying a revenue shortfall of over 714 billion just 3 months into the close of this financial year. And one of the conduits to fix such a loophole is by tapping into the full potential of KPA from generating revenue through the port logistics. Yeah. From the operation of KPA down the year, it's the premier state corporation in Kenya. Do you think it has scratched the surface when it comes to really fixing revenue loopholes?
There are many loopholes in our revenue collection, especially taxes. And I would be surprised if KPA is an exception. Yeah. Importers have complained. Many people have complained. Sometimes KPA is dragging its feet when perhaps it's even trying to get its share of the taxes from them. There have also been other people also who have said the KPA is closing one eye too often. So there are many things, but the bottom line is I'm not so sure KPA is operating at full potential.
Not living up to new possibilities.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not so sure.
Very recently,
I would be surprised if they are.
You're surprised if they are?
I would be surprised.
You would be surprised.
And I would want to be surprised. Because even from operational point of view, you know, when you see even the process of bonded warehousing, you know, weighbridge and all manner of things, and the green, the coloring of categories of taxpayers and the goods, you can smell something there. So, and KP has been a cash cow. Why lie? Everybody's fighting to be there.
Talking matters, people fighting to be at KPA. In the recent 3 months, we've seen change of guard at the helm.
Yes.
Former Kinango Member of Parliament, Benjamin Tayari, taking leadership as the chairman of the board of directors.
Yes.
Captain William Ruto taking stewardship as the managing director. With these new changes that have come with the new administration on KPA side, do you think they inspire confidence that finally we really needed the change of leadership and it has happened? So now we can at least take a breath and say things are going well.
I don't think my experience makes me comfortable with the thinking that an individual can change things.
Not just individual, these are people who
The only individual I know who can change the country is the president, if he wants to. But these others, I rather we change the structures, the systems, than trusting an individual.
But as much as the president can make all that changes, he has tried to address that front by getting the best decorated officers from Kenya Ports Authority. Captain William Ruto, now the DG, is a seasoned.
Don't also forget, KPA is also at the heart of struggles of the people of the coast. They feel that they have been marginalized in this country since independence. And people from Bara or upcountry have gone to take their things, including land, the beaches, and all the good things that coast has to offer. The people from upcountry and foreigners.
Maritime endowment.
So they keep saying, even this port of ours, hata hii bado mnataka. I think it is also insensitive on our part when we keep taking non-coastal to government institutions of note, such as KPA, these other
Coastal
ones.
Guard Services.
Yeah, those kind of things. And that I think they have a point. They have a point. We need to change the structures, create new systems, and try and identify coastal people who are capable and give them the lead of these institutions. Because this, don't forget, there is also sabotage, corporation sabotage. That if you do not have the goodwill of the publics with which you do business, that including your own employers, your suppliers, and the community, and everybody else, you are likely to achieve much.
You need community buy-in.
Yeah, so and I think if you asked me, the name Ruto, captain or no captain, doesn't seem to me to be the best name to put at the coast, at the port. And then you bring somebody again from, like that. I think what you need to do is change the structures, create new systems, have new objectives, new targets, and then try and get at least the MD from the coast.
From the coast. Much as you're saying, getting the MD from the coast.
Yes.
The top.
But a good one, not just anybody, a good one.
And that's why you have Benjamin Tayari there as the chairman of the board. And it has happened before. We've seen coastal people take helm at Kenya Ports Authority.
Yes.
So what you're saying probably doesn't really come out clearly.
Why?
Coastal people have taken charge of KPA. It hasn't yielded the fortunes we expected. So this time round, why make another clarion call?
I have said, there is talk in this country that the Kalenjin and the Kikuyu are taking everything in the public service. And I'm saying, from that perspective, it doesn't augur well for the government to take a Ruto to KPA. But I've also said, you need to restructure, you need to reorganize, create new structures, new systems, create new ways of running KPA with new dreams and visions, new targets, and then try and see if you can rope in a person from the coast. Or at the very worst, it shouldn't be from those kind of names.
Those kind of names.
Yeah, because you see, people are saying, if you are a clever man like Ruto, you put a chairman or a minister, then you put down there, the CEO is a Kalenjin. Those are the things people are saying. This is your country.
And we got ourselves.
We are retired generals. We are just watching from the benches.
About to fade away.
From the terraces. Yeah, we are going and we are just laughing. What country are we leaving behind? What do people feel and think is important? Perceptions are important. The matters of public. You may do wonderful things, but so long as the public perceive you to be a tribalist, to have come here in the interest of making business and making money for your people, it does not matter how hard you try, you'll fail.
In the fullness of time.
You'll fail.
Very well. And this far we've seen on and off fronting of Kenya Ports Authority as a cash cow and probably the home of tendering irregularities. The reason I'm saying this, even as we talk, government is committed to make a special economic zone around Kenya Ports Authority, and it has received backlash therein, and people getting to loggerheads. A Japanese company, JICAS Japan, is fighting the government over the 59 billion tender to create that special economic zone. In the recent past, we've seen KP officials being taken to court on matters tendering irregularities. Would you say there's a need to first address tendering process at KPA before we go for any radical surgeries in that particular state corporation?
Yeah, it's everywhere in many other corporations and across the country. But what I was addressing was the sensitivities of tribe. See, while you'll be doing all these other big things, you must all be sensitive to the fact that the people of the coast may not be very excited that government is perpetuating this hegemony of two communities running the show in the country and taking right up to the coast where the coastal people are. I was just addressing that, and those are some of the things any sensible government would think of. Yeah.
Now that we are seeing even international companies whom we are trying to strengthen our relationship with get into loggerheads with our very own government, say at KPA over tenders, would you say the CS in charge of transport and infrastructure, that is Honorable Kipchumba Murkomen, has so much potential to turn around the situation at KPA, especially on matters tendering, that he only needs to have the goodwill and just execute that radical surgery?
That's the angle I'm telling you. See, if you are having people can see ni mpango sasa ndio wakule vizuri kutoka juu mpaka sasa hapa KPA.
Do you feel Murkomen has made the radical surgeries within 8 months into office?
How can he make? And even if he made, nobody will believe. Believability is important.
It is important?
Very important.
So not many people will say have been inspired by Ruto's economic plan of creating a special economic zone at the KPA.
You need big thinking. You need big thinking that might bring in even a free port. You look at how it has worked elsewhere.
Like in Seychelles, yeah.
Yeah, look how it has worked. Is this something that we can have here? Do we wait for Lamu? And there are questions. There's a lot more thinking that you can expect a minister to do. Yeah, but you must make people feel that KPA is not a cash cow. Even by the way you deploy staff, management level, from chairman to MD, the minister up there, you must also convince people that this is not one of those
cash cows.
That this is one of those strategies people are using so that they can milk the best out of KPA and go away. Yeah.
Even as the government looks towards that possible window of opportunity of creating a special economic zone at Kenya Ports Authority, that one will only be realized if government gets into much borrowing, because government is operating under a constrained fiscal space. Do you think it is high time perhaps we hold any other investment by KPA first and address underlying issues before we now borrow to improve KPA?
How can government hold implementation of projects when it is through that people want to eat money? They will not.
Do you mean even in that
they will borrow
billion?
To do those things, even when they are crying that borrowing is taking us down? Government will still borrow to implement projects, even new ones, because that's the only way. After 5 years, there will be a few billionaires.
But don't you think then the new administration doesn't want to partake in budgeted corruption?
Well, I wish that were true.
You don't have so much faith in them?
No, be a good thing for the country.
Really?
But what if you are saying is true? What will be the hurry in doing things like those when you know very well that borrowing is killing us? Because you are going to borrow. You don't have money.
It's a long-term investment.
You have to convince me that government has good cause in trying to dual Kiambu-Nairobi road, essential as it is, at this time like this when we have serious financial constraints.
Or improving LAPSET project.
Some things to be suspended. I mean, you can no longer continue borrowing. You cannot tell me that I'm borrowing to start a project, however useful that project is. It has to wait and we see. Because we have to tame borrowing. Because the way things are, unless our lenders agree to restructure some of these loans, by September all our revenue could be going in loans.
How about if we look at the open tab of going and looking for conditional grants, going for donor funding, at least now to make into realization such projects?
Well, again, there are conditions people give you. You see, the lenders and the donors are one and the same. The people who give you grants, concessional or otherwise, are the same people who lend you. So they shepherd you and herd you in a certain corner. Then when you are there, they will give you what you want. But as a condition to that, they must do something else. So the debts we are incurring is not because we want the debts. Because the debts are being forced onto us. Chukua hii deni, chukua hii. Alafu hapa kidogo kuna ka grant hapo. You know, it's cheapness. That's why I'm saying these people are calling themselves economists. They are not economists if they don't understand that. You are being pushed into debt so that you are a good boy, then they can clap you. They have clapped for Ghana. Then I'm hearing they are saying funny things about Ghana. Wametupigia kelele about the blue-eyed boy called Ghana. Now the boy is
but they also
puffing and huffing and.
But they're also taking the glory for taking Singapore to places it is today.
No, that Singapore was an idea. There was a person behind Singapore. Lee Kuan Yew was an idea. He himself was an idea. He had a vision for Singapore. This didn't come from IMF or World Bank. This is a guy who wanted to put Singapore from where it was to a place where it would dine with nations of the world. And he succeeded. South Korea the same.
Kenya Ports Authority is yet to take us there.
Wow. Kenya Ports Authority is just a joke, like any other joke around. All of them are just jokes.
There you have it. And that point by Herman Manyora takes us to the wrap of this conversation today, talking matters how better the government can help in revitalizing the operations at Kenya Ports Authority so that it can herald a new beginning of government getting so much fortune out of it and also generally improving the welfare of the locals in the coastal setup. Time now for Fan of the Week. It is none other than our top fan residing in United States of America, George Wanjala.
George Wanjala. George Wanjala.
Yeah.
The other name, somebody sent me some small, some serious some donation.
Yeah, we met
some support.
Yeah.
Wanjala.
Yeah, we met him with Jad at Carrefour, supermarket.
Thank you very much, Wanjala. Yeah, I saw a name Wanjala.
Yeah, George Wanjala.
I actually replied to him and say Asante Sana.
Yeah. He said he'll visit us one of these days before he jets back.
I've also met a lady from Netherlands in town. And she's around for 30 days. She says, you are such a wonderful team. She must make a point of coming to say hi.
Natukule nyama kidogo.
Yeah, sana.
Well, there you have it. Until next time on Business Glide, I'm Richard Mwanja. Always a pleasure to have you on board. Time now for Business Glide African Proverb of the Week, and it's right there on your screen. Check it out.